Welcome back to the Mowing in the Dark podcast and the Lansing Lawn Service YouTube channel. This is our first ever video podcast. So welcome. Thanks for joining me on this amazing journey through July as I record a video every single day for the month of July, except for I went on vacation last week. And so I didn't record all week last week because I needed a break for vacation, just let everything go. And that is what I did. So now I'm back at it. We are going to go, well, I say we. I am going to go a month into August so that we actually get that 31-day span for the month of July. So guys, thanks for joining me. I am so excited that you're here. Go check out and download or subscribe to the Mowing in the Dark Lawn Care Podcast. I would really appreciate it. You can find it pretty much everywhere that you find podcasts. We are on Stitcher, we're on Apple Podcasts, we're on Google Podcasts, we're on Spotify. So go check it out. I would love for you to look that up and subscribe. All right, guys, let's jump into today's topic on this podcast. A few days ago, I did a video on, well, it would have been last week now before I went on vacation. I did a video about my Toro multiforce and how the deck belt had lost tension, and it's really been frustrating. So today, my son Marcus and I were out mowing. I was mowing, this really dry grass. It's been dry here. We've gotten a little bit of rain, but it's still really dry. And I was mowing along, and the mower just bogged right down. And I could hear the what do you call it? The spindle underneath the motor spinning faster than the deck belt, because the deck belt has just lost so much tension. And it just won't spin the blades at a high RPM like it's supposed to. It's been really frustrating. And I was thinking today, this morning, after that was done, I was thinking, man, I wonder if I need to, or if I'm going to need to purchase a different mower. If this keeps happening, I'm going to have to do something. This mower already has 2,000 hours on it. I just hit 2,000 hours today. So, I mean, it's older. I bought it in 2016. It's a first generation Toro multiforce. It's a 52-inch deck. But I was like, I really don't want to do that. You know my family story of trying to get out of debt. We're getting really close. And it's something that we want to do very, very badly. So I really don't want a mower payment in my life. I've been saving money for new equipment, specifically a new mower, because I know this one's going to have to be replaced at some point. But unfortunately, I don't have that cash. I mean, a new multiforce costs $14,000, guys. It's ridiculous. Some of these residential mowers, the high-end residential mowers that I would look at, maybe, possibly, those are $8,000, $9,000. So everything has gone up in price. Our dollar is not worth as much as it was. So I really don't want to purchase a new mower right now. All my equipment is paid off except for my truck. I don't want that extra payment in my life or in my business. I don't need that. I want that cash flow. I want that money to be able to be spread out so that I can save for different things like equipment and things like that. So I don't want that payment. But if I had to consider purchasing a new mower, it was between another Toro, maybe not a multiforce, maybe just a grandstand. I do like the concept of the multiforce. However, the implements are so expensive The hydraulics are so expensive. It's almost not worth it to me to spend that kind of money when most of the attachments for the multiforce I wouldn't be using anyway. I find it much simpler to just use a snowblower in the winter to clear sidewalks. I'm not doing huge residential lots or anything like that to where I'd have to have an itch on my nose. Sorry about that. To clear sidewalks, so I wouldn't need a plow or a brush. I wouldn't need that stuff. The only thing that I would like to have is the aerator. And I use right now for big lawns, I use a pull behind aerator, and it does the job. I mean, it's not great. I'm sure it will fall apart in the next year or two. It's an agrifab, they're built well. I mean, it's very simple. It's not anything spectacular, and they're cheap. They're really cheap. And I'm cheap, so I don't want to spend a bunch of money on something that is only going to get used part of the year. My aerator doesn't get used all that often. So I really don't need the attachments. I would love them. I love the idea of them, but I really don't need them. So my thinking was, well, it's either between the Toro or a Wright, because I have a new Wright dealer just up the road from me, literally less than 10 minutes up the road. And they're brand new. They bought out the dealer that was there. So they sell Gravely and Wright as their, and Bad Boy, but I don't consider Bad Boy. So, so it's between Gravely and Wright. And you all know my history with Gravely. I don't want a pro stance. I find that they are a horrible cutting machine. I don't like the Gravely decks. I don't like them. I think they did a poor job of engineering them. I think they made a bad product to start with, and then they tried to fix it with baffles, and it's just a horrible product. I really believe that, and I really do. When you look at Toro and you look at Exmark, they don't have those stupid adjustable baffles or anything. They don't need them. They were engineered properly from the start. The suction of the deck, that was an afterthought for Gravely, and so I'm not even considering them. Yes, I have a residential Gravely on my mowing setup right now, but I would not consider a pro line of Gravely mowers. I just wouldn't. I don't like their decks at all, period. I think they're built solidly. I think it's a well-built machine. I hate the way it cuts, and I hate the deck. So I'm just going to leave it at that. But I would consider a Wright. I've never mowed with a Wright, but the dealer is close. And that's the only reason that I would consider a Wright. I love the Toro. I love it. I think it's the best cutting machine on the market in stand-on mowers. I do. I think it stripes phenomenally, and it cuts phenomenally, and it does what I need it to do. I like standing because my knees lock up during the day, and I just don't like that. I don't like pain in my legs. So standing alleviates all of that. Also, when I'm sitting, my back gets jarred for some reason, and it's not good. I'd rather stand. I get a lot of people don't want to stand all day. That's fine. That's up to you. That's up to you. I go with what you need, what your body needs. I'm trying to go with what my body needs, which is a stander. So I thought about maybe a Ferris, but Ferris has so much going on with all these bars and suspension, and they had to engineer the mower with the suspension so the deck would stay level, even if the mower is bouncing up and down. And there's just too much to break, too much to go wrong. I'm not into that. I want simple. I want solid. I want proven. And so that is why I want to stick with the Toro. And so what I had to do today, I decided, you know what, I'm just going to take it to the dealer, because what was happening, my belt was losing tension. I made a video about this about a week ago, that the deck belt is losing tension, or it has lost tension, and that is why my blades are not getting up to RPM. And it's frustrating. It's really, really frustrating. When I engage the blades, it takes forever for the blades to get up to speed. So I took it to the dealer. The owner of the business, John, shout out to John, over at Midwest Power Equipment in Okemos, Michigan. Great guy, runs a great business over there. He went out to my trailer and took a look at it as I was talking to another lady who was getting me all my information to leave the mower. And so he went out and, looked at it. My deck has been wobbling back and forth. It's just been a whole bunch of deck issues. And he said, well, first of all, your deck stabilizer's on backwards. And I thought, well, that's really interesting, because I've never taken off the deck stabilizer. I've never removed the deck. You can remove the deck off of the Toro multiforce in winter, when you use it in winter, but I've never done that. I've never used it in winter. So it's been that way since I bought it from them. So he said, that's on backwards. And then he said, Toro has come out with a new belt tensioner. It's way beefier. They've had a lot of issues with the belt tensioner arm bending, and so they're going to replace that anyway, but that part is back ordered for at least 2 weeks. So I'm waiting right now. I'm hoping that they will fix the deck shifting issue, so that at least I will get more tension on the belt right now, so that I can use it for a week or whatever until that part comes in. I really hope I can do that, because I need this mower. Over the course of this week, because that mower's out of my lineup, I'm going to have to mow with the Gravely 42-inch residential mower. I'd never bought it for this purpose, but I'm going to have to run it as my main mower for the rest of this week, pretty much, in order to get my lawns done. So that's a concern there, but it is what it is. I understand that there is going to be times when I have to use the Gravely as my main mower because of breakdowns or whatever. I haven't had very many breakdowns with the Toro multiforce. It's been a great machine. I've had very few issues with it. I've had just one spindle go out, and that was it. And I really believe it's because I hit a dead stump in someone's yard soon after I got it, and I kind of wrenched the blade on really tight. I actually had to heat up the bolt that was holding that on, and I think either the heat that I had to use to get that off, or just hitting that stump. I mean, it was dead. It just knocked it out of the ground, but still, it had to be hard on that spindle. And so I'm thinking that's what ultimately made that spindle go bad over the next 2 or 3 years, because I replaced it a couple of years ago. So that's the only thing that I've really had wrong with this mower. Of course, I've had maintenance things, got to replace the deck belts, things like that. But this deck belt is fairly new, so it should not be heating up that much to lose that much tension. So I'm guessing that, and John told me a bunch of things that could be going on with it. They're going to look at it, they're going to get it fixed up, and hopefully I will be out of there by the end of the week with my mower, but we'll see. So that's what went on today, guys, with the Toro multiforce. I did go and I ordered the part through Midwest Power Equipment, because Toro doesn't sell it on their website, or at least maybe because it was back ordered, they didn't have it available. They said on the website to go to your local dealer. So that's what I did. I went to their website and ordered it through them, but it's back ordered. So I'm going to have to wait for that anyway. But one thing I noticed when I went into the dealership, they had a couple of grandstands and a couple of multiforces. So I just tugged on the deck belt. I just tugged on it, and I watched the belt tensioner, and it moved freely like this. If you pull on the deck belt, it would move. And on mine, when I pull on the deck belt, that tensioner pulley doesn't move. It stays. I've hit it with a hammer and it didn't move. So there's something going on with that tensioner pulley, whether it's bent or whatever, I don't know. It doesn't look bent to me, but it could be bent because there is no flex in that thing at all. And when I pulled on that belt, I mean, there was a lot of flex in that tensioner pulley. So that is my guess of what's really going on with the belt. I hope that's the issue. John told me that he thought it was under warranty, or they will replace it for free, I think is what he said. They aren't doing a recall on it for whatever reason. He didn't know and I didn't know, but I guess once it bends, then they'll replace it for free. So whatever. But that's been my issue today, guys. It's been kind of blah the last week. I mean, not last week, because last week I was on vacation. Vacation was great. We did fishing. We did a lot of fishing. We just hung out at our campsite. We ate a lot of ice cream. There wasn't a lot to do around that area. We went camping in Cadillac, Michigan at Mitchell State Park. So if you're from Michigan, you may know where Cadillac is. And Mitchell State Park is a campground, a state park campground that's between two lakes there. It's between Mitchell Lake and Lake Cadillac. And the fishing was okay. We caught enough panfish to have a small fish fry, but that was about it. But it was okay. It wasn't great. It wasn't spectacular. It certainly wasn't my favorite campground, but it was enjoyable. There was some neighbors of ours that were camping, just happened to be camping there at the same time we were. So our boys and their boy got to play together, ride bikes, do fishing, all that stuff. It was awesome. But that was kind of my week, guys. A lot of thinking about the Toro, especially today, just as it's been bogging down really easy. The Gravely has surprisingly been cutting really well. I don't know if it's because the grass is so dry. That's probably it. But it's been cutting really well. You can't really stripe with it because the 42-inch deck is basically even with the back wheels. But it is what it is, and it will get me by for the week. I'll have to spend a little bit more on gas because it's not an EFI engine, but I'm willing to trade that off to get the multiforce fixed so that I can get that thing back to working at 100%, because I want it to last me for maybe another 2-3 years. I want to take it up to 3,000 hours if I can, and just run it into the ground pretty much, and then sell it to somebody who's willing to put an engine on it and get rid of it and buy a new one. Because I don't feel like running a piece of equipment for 2 years and then selling it once the warranty's up is really valuable. And always having that mower payment, I don't want that. I don't need that. That's not me. I would rather go and pay full price, pay for it outright, because then every cent that mower generates is mine to keep. It's not in a payment going back paying on that mower. I realize there's trade-off. You got to have that money to put down. I get it. And I get the whole cash flow thing. I do. I don't want to run my business that way. I want to do things debt-free because there is a lot of value in being able to go out and purchase that mower outright in cash, and then you get to keep all the revenue that machine brings in. And that is a great feeling. I got to tell you what, when I paid off the Toro multiforce, I was ecstatic, because now every cent that mower generates, I get to keep. It's not going back out to pay for the mower. And I'm excited for that to keep working for me. I paid it off. It was all paid off all last year, and it's been paid off all this year so far. I mean, it's all paid off, But it's really, really exciting for me. All my equipment's paid off except for the truck. And as soon as we get our camper paid off, I'm going to be throwing every extra cent at the truck to hopefully get that paid off quickly. Probably within 2 years, 3 years, something like that is my hope. It's an expensive truck. Trucks are expensive. I never wanted to go new. I went new with the truck simply because there was nothing used available, and I needed something because I had just sold my Ram 1500, so I had to get something, and unfortunately I had to go new. I love the truck. It's a great truck. Gas mileage is a little much, you know, but it's a 2500. It plows snow great. It hauls great. Everything about it is wonderful, but I would have rather had a much lower monthly payment. That way I could throw more money at it to get it paid off quicker. So that just is what it is. But guys, that's it for this episode. Make sure that you head over to the Lansing Lawn Service YouTube channel, subscribe to the channel, watch some videos over there because those videos support this podcast. And guys listening to the podcast, I'm sorry, I messed that up. Guys watching the YouTube video, head over to Apple iTunes or Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts and subscribe to the Mowing in the Dark Lawn Care Podcast. Guys, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching and thanks for listening. I will see you in the next episode.